that leads into my next question, man. I've always wondered because I watch you from afar, and I truly admire you, bro.
I
You know what I'm
appreciate
saying? The way you got all these different endeavors that you have your hand in, but you're able to be present in all those endeavors, and I think that in itself is a talent. So I see, here at Coded Black, we create a space for people to be their authentic selves.
Mhm.
And, I just want to kind of just break down the barriers. I kind of see what you be going through, bro. I'm an empath, so I feel your energy. So we're kind of similar in regards of when we have a lot of different things, to do, we kind of section it off and compartmentalize. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. Yes.
So how do you separate all these different titles that you have? Like, is there like a method that you do that you?
That's so funny that you're saying this because that's been something that I've been intentionally working on removing. I call them these invisible barriers. And so I think when so first, my wife is the founder of Just That Honey, right? She's always had a love for tea. That's just been her thing. I always say I've been a smart husband by joining at the hips. I've been a part of Just That Honey for the last 12 years. For me, and I love what we do. I love Just That Honey. I think I'm really good at sales, and not even sales, but creating community and building relationships. I've always been good at that. My wife is just she's just so smart when it comes to making things look beautiful and caring and blending the right teas. But I also am at a stage right now where I am honoring my journey, right, which kind of takes me into undo. So I love what my wife and I have built, but I'm just reaching 46. Over the past few years, I've been just very intentional with honoring myself, and I thought initially that I had to compartmentalize my life, right? And so Just That Honey fed in one box, right? Undo was set in another box, and Do Speaks kind of set in another box. And what I realized was I was first it was a lot more stressful because I really felt I was doing wearing multiple hats at the same time. And I don't think in hindsight I feel now that I don't think I was being fully my authentic self. I recently started doing this meeting over a cup of tea where I have people from my LinkedIn community come in and we just have tea and just kind of chop it up, right? Being mindful that so often for me when I'm reaching out to these connects on social media, oftentimes I'm just connecting with them, but I'm not really going deep into the conversation or deep into the relationship, knowing more about the people that I'm befriending. And over the past few months, I've been doing this thing called meeting over a cup of tea, where I just have people come in and we just kind of chop it up. And the initially the conversations were really geared towards Just That Honey because I run our offsite event side, which we do like a number of events literally on a day-to-day basis. We have a mobile tea bar. And so for me, initially, it was a way for me to advertise kind of my business. And then over time, I really had this mindset like, I'm kind of building unnecessary barriers internally. And what does it look like to kind of remove the compartmentalization of all the things I do and really honor my full human self, right? And so I love tea. I've been in business for 12 years with my wife. That is a huge part of me, right? I also have created a nonprofit called Ndugu, which is Swahili for brotherhood, to offer a safe space for Black men. And instead of having these compartmentalized, now I have literally removed these invisible barriers that I kind of box myself in. And now when I'm having these conversations over a cup of tea, I've allowed myself to go in and out of conversations about Ndugu Speaks, Just That Honey, and realizing that they really all tie in together, right? Because it's who I am, right? So me being my most authentic self, all these things kind of tie in. Depending on who I'm talking to, the conversation might be more heavier on Just That Honey. Other conversations might be more heavier towards Undo, but allow myself the space and the freedom to live my full authentic self with every conversation I have, instead of saying that I can only talk about tea with this executive that works for Google, right? And so just really opening myself up to my whole human self with every conversation I have has led to really just beautiful conversation I'm having over a cup of tea where we're just diving into everything that I do, which opens up, kind of giving permission for others to do the same thing, opening up about all the things they're doing. So now we're having conversations where they're not talking solely about what they do for a living. They're talking about their pets and their kids and their spouses. And I think that it makes for a more fruitful conversation, where we can kind of remove all these things that, these blocks that oftentimes we put ourselves in. So I'm saying to say I have, there was a long period of time that I compartmentalized my life. And over the last month and a half, I've been very intentional with kind of removing those and saying, when you get me, you're going to get all of me instead of just this particular section of me.